don't matter anymore. This is the only series that matters. So if he has something special, this is absolutely the moment to bust it out. I think we're still going to have a fun series. In the bottom left side of Inside and Out, we're looking at the main base of the Danish Protoss, representing ShaDoWn Gaming. We call him the Prince of Denmark. It's MaxPax.
In the top right, as the blue Protoss, he is ShaDoWn.
I think this is something that we expected Zombie Grub and something that we are probably going to see a couple of times. Maybe at least once. ShaDoWn will also go pylon, low ground, gateway, low ground. But this is a smaller map. He is going to go for the high ground setup. MaxPax is going to go for the low ground setup. And now it's going to be interesting to see if ShaDoWn will proxy. Will MaxPax go core, Stargate, Nexus, or really try to go for a very quick Nexus with a later core, a later Stargate, or even go Robo, right? There's so many possibilities.
There are a lot of possibilities. Kind of hard to even, wait, is that actually wall?
Not yet, no. But he's gonna probably do the cyber core at the bottom. No, wait. Okay. This is actually problematic, because even if MaxPax only has that one gate setup, I think we have both seen a few games where Stalkers move out, one Adept sneaks in, and if you have one Adept in a main base, no shield battery, that Adept can easily kill 4 or 5 workers, and the game can end.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised by this. I was gonna say there's almost no use in talking about the possibilities because there are so many, and that still remains true. But now we kind of opened up even maybe another one where Adepts get into the main, which would just be kind of a very lame ending. But I guess it could happen. ShaDoWn, I don't know. Maybe the pro blocked him and he figured, why bother fighting this, or just the extra little money saved. Because again, why bother fighting this? But yeah, it is an odd decision, since I will say I don't recall many PvPs being lost. Well, in these situations, anyways. Proc or natural expand versus just the 2-gate, where having the 2 gates as a wall becomes like a weakness. But anyways, we'll move on.
If he keeps the Stalkers at home, then it shouldn't be too bad. But if MaxPax does sneak his Adept to the other side of the map and one Adept gets in, you know that MaxPax will have perfect positioning, probably between a mineral patch and a gas. One Adept can really deal a lot of damage, and this can actually become problematic for ShaDoWn, but he will find the Adept in the center of the map. That is not going to be a kill, but it's going to be very close, and that's obviously going to make him feel a little bit better. But now we still need to be a little bit careful. Yeah, I mean, I love us. That doesn't do anything, but okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Did he really think that this was going to be... There's no way he thought that was a wall. There's absolutely no way. From the get-go. But I guess that would have made the Adept at least move around the gateways, to be fair.
Hey,
so.
Did he block his Nexus? Don't tell me that he blocked his Nexus.
Oh my god, I think you're right. He did.
Yeah,
he did.
He blocked his Nexus.
He did. Oh my god. Okay, well, this is just...
And now there's an Oracle flying into his main base. No shield battery. All the Stalkers out of position. Zombie Grub. This is not looking good for ShaDoWn. At least a few probes are going to fall here. At least the recall is solid, but this is about as bad of a best of 5 start as you could imagine.
Exactly. I don't doubt that ShaDoWn was warming up, but I feel like this might have been one of those things where possibly even too many games of warming up, and suddenly you're just getting in your own head, and it just everything goes out the window anyways. Even if you were practicing PvP nonstop before this match, it just whoop right out of the head. Something messed up, something intimidated you, the cameras are on, the lights are on, I don't know. Because I actually didn't think ShaDoWn was a particularly nervous player. And has he not made playoffs before? I thought he made lower bracket round before. So this is just very, very out of the ordinary.
Yep, he's actually in so much trouble here already, even against the Void Ray, because the Oracle could still fly into the main base. ShaDoWn is going to make a Phoenix. MaxPax is reinforcing with a Phoenix. If I was MaxPax, I'd fight the battery first. Or you can go for the pylon if Nexus Overcharge is not ready, but the Nexus is going to finish up. Are we going to Overcharge to save this pylon? I would personally, because we are in trouble now, ShaDoWn. Not healing that pylon. Oh my goodness, Zombie Grove, what is happening?
This is a disaster, guys. This is a disaster, and it is just so weird because it's disaster from the first 8. If I saw that pylon blocking and that was the only thing weird that had happened, there wasn't even the gateways talk about, I'd still be less bewildered, even though I'd still be kind of bewildered. But combo the two, And it's just what has happened to ShaDoWn today. He's trying now to flex some micro muscles, I suppose, try and hold at the very last second, but he is down 10 probes, a bit more actually now. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the stasis drop in the main base delayed a lot of the mining too, and there's nothing else going well for him. It's not even like his blink is faster.
No, absolutely nothing. It's just a nightmare game, an absolute nightmare game. I don't know why he didn't heal that pylon. That would have helped him. This Oracle is going to get a couple of probes as well, and if I was ShaDoWn, I'd honestly be very close to tapping out at this point. The Oracle KO is going to give him some good vibes, but when he runs to the other side of the map, he's going to see that MaxPax is already on 3 bases. He's still on 2. I'm going to go for a Dark Shrine apparently, but MaxPax is already dropping the Robo right when the Dark Shrine goes down, because obviously he can ask himself the question, what on earth could I still lose to? And, well, the only answer is DTs, I guess.
And it's not like it takes a lot away from him at this point either. He is actually getting up to the 3rd base in a perfectly even safe manner, guys. So affording a Robo is not... It's not hard. You don't have to skip it. It's not a very clutch game. MaxPax just 100% going to win. I guess at some point ShaDoWn, you know, I got to imagine he was shaking his head through basically the entire part of this game. Like the entire game, 6.5 minutes. But he's probably looking for at least one thing, you know, to go right, just to kind of be like, well, I did that. Let's just shake that off afterwards. Because I do understand that maybe just tapping out as soon as that pylon went down would have just felt maybe even worse than trying to give it a college try, you know, like do a little blink micro, maybe get some DTs in, and then you can tap out and shake off the game afterwards.
Yep. And he does use overcharge. He's just going to try his best with the DTs, but MaxPax is already over that probe. I really wonder what that pylon is for, Zombie Grub. I just can't possibly imagine what ShaDoWn would ever want to do with that pylon on the bottom side of the map, as MaxPax is going to take the fight on the other side of the map as well. Defending against DTs, micro stalkers offensively, and game 1 goes in favor of the Prince in a game where he only lost 7 units, but yeah, ShaDoWn lost that game a whole lot more than MaxPax won it. That game was almost handed to MaxPax on the silver platter.
Right, yeah. I don't even want to kind of like rag on it anymore, you know, because it's, I don't know, it's almost like kicking him when he's down. I'm sure ShaDoWn knew that he messed up from the get-go. Again, was disappointed the entire time. Was just hoping to have a little control over the game, to give him a bit of a boost. He wasn't even allowed that. Literally every part of his plan was found out, and then he was killed just by a number of stalkers bigger than his own. So, yeah, watching him recover from that mentally is now what I'm going to be paying attention to. And if he does, he plays solid, you know, next 2 games, still gets 3-0'd, I'd still call that somewhat of a win, because this has got to be so difficult. You just never play that bad of a PvP, basically. Like, that's why I didn't want to say, but I had to. You never play that bad of a PvP at ShaDoWn's level. Yeah,
best of 5, the biggest best of 5 that you're going to play in many months. And it starts off by blocking your own Nexus. I mean, we've all been there. We've all accidentally blocked our expand once. It sucks. But it particularly sucks in the biggest best of 5 you're going to play in a little while. But I guess the one thing you can take away from this is that, you know, it's not going to get worse than that. That really sucked. That was a stupid game. You're going to forget about it. You're going to move on. And you're going to be like, well, from here on out, I'm going to do better. And yeah, that's really the only thing you can do. The one thing that is funny and we didn't really touch upon is that after feeding MaxPax made the Void Ray, because at first he's like, oh, you still don't have a Nexus, you know? So I'll make that Void Ray in case I'm going to get pressured. And then suddenly the Oracle flies around. He's like, oh, you have your Nexus there. But then MaxPax is so good where he immediately realizes that, hey, if I don't do anything with this Void Ray forever, then it's becoming a bit of a silly investment. So right now, there is some value in the Void Ray because you need Oracles in your main base to deal with my Oracle. And then my Void Ray Stalker Phoenix Squad will be pretty useful and pretty, or have a lot of potential, at least at your 3rd. And obviously, MaxPax is always able to turn potential into damage. So that was funny and well done.
There's a weird world where maybe a different Protoss, or a Protoss who really was confused for longer, like the Oracle doesn't bypass the Nexus at the time that it does, also makes kind of the wrong decisions, the hesitant decisions, and then somehow ShaDoWn manages to work his way into a 3-base versus 3-base situation. I want to say I've watched a game like that happen, but not with all the scouting that MaxPax is doing, and I think just the supreme confidence that MaxPax is going to have in this matchup. We're moving on, and hopefully ShaDoWn is too. Game number 2 is going to be on Tropical Sacrifice. Bottom left for Storm Gaming, he is MaxPax.
And in the top right side, we are looking at the main base of the Frenchman representing Berserker Esports. So let's forget about that first game and just play a solid PvP here on Tropical. This is ShaDoWn.
Again, going to be, I feel like, the #1 challenge now. The #1 challenge was, defeating MaxPax in a best of 5 PvP. Now, #1 challenge is getting over that first game. So hopefully he's really good at that portion of StarCraft, letting go of the losses. So we have another similar setup with ShaDoWn going for the 2-gate wall on the top, MaxPax taking advantage of that ramp, and just being MaxPax going for a Nexus.
Yeah, that ShaDoWn didn't do it on Inside and Out, even though that is a map with a ramp as well, but it's obviously a bit smaller. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. On this map, though, I do generally believe that it's vastly superior to what MaxPax is doing. The pylon on the low ground, gateway on the low ground. Of course, it's one of these things where if you don't like it or you haven't practiced it a whole lot, you're not suddenly going to do it, because it's obviously a lot better to do something that is technically less superior, but you're very confident with, than playing a build that you don't love all that much, but people say it's good, so you're going to do it too, even though you're not good with it. But yeah, right now you see that Nexus went down before Cybercore. ShaDoWn is going to have to be very aggressive here, because if he doesn't kill MaxPax in the first 6 minutes, the economic lead that MaxPax creates with this opening is just way too big. So this is going to be short and explosive.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And this is where MaxPax starts to show, I guess, why he's just a little bit better at this than all the other Protosses. A lot of the Protosses say that they'll try and copy him to a T and still not quite able to do it. One of the first things that happens with MaxPax that it does feel like he almost always finds the proxy. So whether it's, very early on or just as the building is finished, point is he can still find it, at least kind of mentally prepare for whatever the option is. So if it's a Robo, it's a Twilight Council, it's a Gateway, whatever it is. So it is going to be proxy gateway, and MaxPax has sent out that second probe. I would say that I feel like I witnessed this exact same map in a PvP with MaxPax previously. He does go down first, but then the scouting probe in the main does go to this exact location. So yeah, that's exactly what happened.
The man has his pal runs. He's got 3 units roaming the map at this point, and that's where you just find things. I think what was a very big tell as well, even though I'm sure that MaxPax was already thinking about the fact that this could be a real proxy, is that ShaDoWn started 1 Stalker, and the second Stalker was started up quite a bit later, right? That is often an indicator that this is obviously very serious. 1 probe is going to get picked off immediately. ShaDoWn might go for like offensive batteries, but that stuff just kind of sucks these days, because the batteries only spawn with half energy. That is a bit of real damage already. So far, I have to admit that I'm not loving this for ShaDoWn, but let's see what kind of a follow-up he has in mind.
Right, yeah. What is the follow-up? Because I see this already not working out. I mean, sometimes if this is a Twilight Council, you do have that second power spike where Blink is done and you've accumulated quite a number of Stalkers, but that's not the option here. It is just going to be a 4th gateway.
Yeah, but that's weird as well. I feel like if we wanted to 4-gate, couldn't we have already had 4 gates at this point? Couldn't we have had a few more units now? I mean, there is one way that this works, and that is that if MaxPax misreads the game. But MaxPax is a smart individual. He learns from his mistakes, does not want to lose a Void Ray, needs to be careful where Void Ray number 2 spawns. It is obviously a lot of Stalkers, but ShaDoWn has no high ground vision. And that is just what makes this hard. Tries to kill a battery, gets close, doesn't quite kill it. Surprised MaxPax is not healing up that battery at this point.
No, it is. There we go. Cannons are also on the way as the Forge has completed. MaxPax knows that all he has to do is defend, so investing into some actual static defense is totally fine. And I feel like with the first cannon finishing, on top of everything else that's happened, it's already cemented victory for MaxPax, but he also has another shield battery, another cannon, and another Void Ray about to pop out. So what can ShaDoWn really do?
I mean, he obviously lost against Goblin in the group stage, got 4-gated, didn't quite have the right amount of static defenses that he normally has, but as I said in the beginning, the man learns his lesson. I love the blocking he's doing in his little choke point, right? Making it impossible for these Stalkers to get close to the Void Rays, and this is a straight-up massacre. MaxPax is bulletproof. MaxPax takes the 2-0 lead, and Zombie Grub, the man lost 2 units in that game, a Zealot and an Adept.
Even better than the first game. Let's see if he can actually go for a perfect game number 3. That's brutal. I mean, in a weird way, I feel like that maybe at least was a way to level things out for ShaDoWn, you know, like trying to think of the positives basically, where he got to execute his build order, you know, like it didn't work out from kind of first step. It was looking kind of doomed, but he at least got to execute it, do it, and then tap out kind of like on his own terms, if you will. What I'm trying to get at is maybe game 3, he'll be like a little bit better off from that first game, even though he's now on his last life. I mean, maybe he'll even take a more macro approach to this, kind of considering that the previous options have not worked out.
At this point, I really wouldn't hate to see ShaDoWn just go for 2 Stalkers and then expand. Even if he goes for high ground gateways and MaxPax will have that quicker nexus, let's just at least head into some Blink Stalkers, try to get a little 3-base skirmish going, right? Zealot Stalker, Zealot Stalker. It's fun. This has been a really brutal best of 5, and that sucks because ShaDoWn obviously had a good run so far, guys. 4-3 in a group with a lot of Protosses and Serral is something to be proud of. Making top 16 in Europe is something to be very proud of, but no matter how proud you can be of that accomplishment as a player, right now ShaDoWn is not happy. He's not in a good spot. The man has killed 9 units in 2 games. Like, that's just, yeah, that's painful.
That is a especially painful way of putting it, yeah. But it is the truth. And it does not bode well for ShaDoWn's chances to win this best of 5 and advance off on to the playoffs. Because yesterday I was talking about a lot of second chances. Show your best, but you have that lower bracket. Here we are in the lower bracket, so it is literally a last chance for ShaDoWn. Spawning on Data C, it's potentially the last map. The bottom left for ShaDoWn Gaming, it is MaxPax.
And in the top right side of Data C, we're looking in the main base of the Frenchman representing Berserker Esports down 0-2. Let's hope he can find a bit of momentum here in game 3. This is ShaDoWn. One thing I did absolutely love from MaxPax is that sometimes when the Stalker counts get high, it's still hard as a defender, even if they don't have a robo, they don't have any high ground vision, you know, to not overexpose your Void Rays, right? It's so easy for the Voids to take a full volley to the face and not even a battery saves them. But the way that he had these units on hold position in the choke point made it impossible for all the Stalkers to get in range. But the Stalkers don't want to shoot at a Zealot. They don't want to shoot at an Adept. They want to shoot at static defenses or ideally Void Rays. But MaxPax made that basically impossible. And I did think it was very sexy defense. Even if we've seen it before, he did basically everything correct.
I mean, I think that's the 2 ways that the defending Protosses do lose the game, is nothing holding that choke, so maybe more of those volleys actually go through, and then the pullbacks and the Void Rays aren't so well timed, so either they don't pull them back and they do get hit by an entire volley of Stalkers, or they're pulled back almost like prematurely, don't really engage with all of the fight, more of the Stalkers get up than you would expect, because again, they're also not holding that choke, and there's a little bit of a snowball after that fact, but right, MaxPax has kind of got it on lockdown. For the most part, he has lost against a 4-gate build. He's lost against a 1-base Blink build. It's not perfect, but MaxPax, basically, his quest is kind of too perfected to actually say that this is the way that you have to do things. It should be done this way. Nothing else is going to work in PvP. By nothing else, I mean this high ground 2-gate thing that ShaDoWn is trying to do. So he scouts it, he knows it. Now he's got to be worried about another proxy.
I do like this already a little bit if you are the double gate player. Like, knowing that they're going to have a slightly quicker nexus than you most of the time and a slightly better economy because they invested in 1 gate and you in 2 gateways is fine. But last game we had that nexus before core, and that really puts the clock on you in my opinion. Like right now it's kind of playable, right? Like our nexus is going to be 10-15 seconds later, our Stargate is a bit later. So sure, maybe little advantage MaxPax, but this is a lot more playable than that nexus before core because that really snowballs out of control.
This is the most playable game I feel like we've seen from ShaDoWn. This Nexus got put down in the natural, and you can actually play out this game. And we have perhaps a more classic talking point about PvP, which is the Stargate versus Stargate, potentially Oracle versus Oracle. ShaDoWn knows that he did delay the Nexus, or the possibility with the probe, and he did so. Saw that there was a Stargate literally on the front lines, and was even around long enough to see that, yeah, it is going to be an Oracle. So going into a Phoenix first does not surprise me, but if MaxPax also figures that this could be an option, he's going to be really ready to do that recall, right? So shouldn't lose the Oracle, but shouldn't be doing any damage either.
Nope. And ShaDoWn is playing it safe as well. He's like, I don't want to find myself in a spot where I miss it for a split second and it still kills 5 probes and it takes too long for my Phoenix. So he even goes for a battery in the main base. Stalker Phoenix is ready. Revelation has been dropped. MaxPax is going to indeed recall that Oracle immediately. And now both of them are making Phoenixes, where ShaDoWn is the one though with a tiny lead, or at least he was supposed to be the one with the lead. Yeah, he's got a 1 Phoenix advantage, so that's kind of nice, but he needs to take care of this adept. Please lift it. Okay, he does lift it in the end, and we'll kill it. Okay, it's a game, Zombie Grub. It is a game.
It is a game. We finally have a game where it's not just determined by the 4 or 5 minute mark. ShaDoWn is going to add on another Phoenix, despite also grabbing a Twilight Council. And these Phoenix should be able to maybe get a probe or two, but it would actually do some scouting as well, since there's not much that actually kills them right now, and there's certainly no blink available. And ShaDoWn's going to go ahead and add on that Dark Shrine.
That's kind of cool, actually. He shows 2 Phoenixes, but MaxPax is very smart. And he's like, if you actually wanted to go Phoenix, you'd probably have at least another one by now. And also, you didn't try to commit that, even when you saw I only have 1. And of course, he's near a battery. So MaxPax is going to go for a Dark Shrine too. This, at the moment, would obviously also favor MaxPax, as long as he can keep his Oracle alive. But that Oracle was heading towards the natural. This is kind of funny.
Yes, yeah, it is kind of funny. I would say that it's actually not too typical to have both of them do the Stargate crossover into Dark Shrine. I want to say it's more often that one person does it, the other person does a more maybe macro-oriented build. But when this happens, I mean, there is a lot of that. He knows that I know that he knows that I know, and there's also maybe a bit of fortune involved in the other person not choosing the correct option, right? So if MaxPax did just throw away his Oracle because, I don't know, he was really desperate for probe kills, then obviously that would put him in a very difficult position, but he should be wary of his opponent also going for a Dark Shrine. So maybe keeping this Oracle alive, kind of priority number 1.
And ShaDoWn's read is good. Well, he actually saw everything, so I guess it's not really a read, but he is getting an Oracle as well. MaxPax is moving out with his Stalkers. He does have a few more units on the ground. Phoenixes can be useful, but they are both building a pylon at the exact same spot. MaxPax is gonna see this pylon, and this pylon obviously screams DTs, and I wonder if that means that he's gonna send his Oracle home immediately. He recalls it.
Yeah, he does. So he was going to try and double whammy with a little bit of a push and then get a bunch of probe kills in the back. But as soon as he saw that pylon, he figured it out pretty quickly. Recalls at home, blocks off the natural as well. So he had plenty of time to react. It was only 1 DT anyways. That does actually get detected. And then MaxPax gets to do this attack on the front lines. Beautiful situation there for MaxPax. Very quick identifying of the situation had to be done there. So don't take it for granted how well this went for MaxPax, but it went swimmingly for him.
Yeah, honestly, he makes so many correct calls in such a short period, right? He barely has a split second to think about all the possible scenarios, but it seemed like almost everything went well for him there. The only thing that didn't go well for him is that 1 revelation revealed 2 Dark Templars. He did maybe not think that ShaDoWn was going to be ready for his own DTs. So that was obviously a nice little pick-off for ShaDoWn, but yeah, he lost the Nexus. Overall, it's just a bit problematic. I believe that ShaDoWn did see that DT as well. Yeah, that's number 3. That absolutely does start adding up. But yeah, losing the Nexus is just very painful.
Right, and still being down those workers as well. So the only thing that ShaDoWn really has going for him is the slightly faster +1 attack, but even that's really not all that much faster. The Phoenix have even literally been evened up as well. Stays the strap in the main. Okay, is pulled away at the last second, but it's one of many problems for ShaDoWn. There's going to be under constant harassment by the looks of things. You know, the Oracle, the Stalkers, the threat of DTs, because we're not quite an observer. ShaDoWn is a river. He has 1. Oh, it's literally on top of the robo. That just it's hard to see.
Looked like it was in production still, but it's actually...
Yeah. There we go. Okay, so now they're on observers. The DTs might be probably less of a problem, but still, all the advantages that MaxPax have had economically should be rolling into the army supply in about 1 or 2 minutes, and that'll be the next big test for ShaDoWn.
I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't see charge yet. Okay, there we go. I feel like such a cheap upgrade, and I think MaxPax had all the time in the world to get that going, but maybe he was worried that ShaDoWn would just build nothing but Stalkers, counterattack. He did throw away a few units, and sometimes Zealots are actually not good if you only have a few and your opponent is spamming pure Stalkers, so maybe that's why MaxPax said, nope, I don't need it immediately, but obviously the longer the game goes, the more willing you are able to spend those few resources into a very powerful upgrade. At least you know, ShaDoWn is going to be able to get a couple of good fights going. +1 is done. You know, one good fight near a battery, and he could absolutely be back in the game. It's just that MaxPax doesn't make too many of those bad calls in general.
Right. Yeah, we're kind of assuming that MaxPax is supposed to be getting worse over time, only strength in the early and mid game, and that's just not the truth there. So you'd have to be very, very overconfident and make that mistake, which I actually see MaxPax getting too overconfident too often. He takes out the Observer as opponent, a little bit less detection and just knowledge that there is an attack on the way. Oh, gets his own sniped, however. So maybe not the case anymore, but there is all of that pressure that I was talking about. We have had the economy roll into a slight army supply lead. Nothing outrageous yet, but even the Oracle coming in for that third piece and the Natural is going to find a good number of probes.
Yep, and we had one Dark Templar slicing up a few probes, staying out of range of the cannon. Now MaxPax rotating his army around, does run into the stasis trap with a few of his zealots, but it creates a bit of a force field. But MaxPax doesn't even really need to win this fight. He just needs to make sure he doesn't lose it in a very one-sided manner. Then he's going to be fine. Because Zealots are slicing up the Nexus at 12 o'clock. The Oracle's done a lot of damage.
Oh, oh no. Well, doesn't save the third, loses the probes, is losing the fight by the looks of things at the fourth base, and the Oracle, well, actually got destroyed in the Natural. So there's something going for him. But then there's all of this mess, which is not going well for ShaDoWn.
No, and MaxPax has a big bang too. He can actually make a lot of units show up with a second wave. Drop the Robobay during all of this, but beautiful play. Makes it look so easy. Oracle in the Natural. First a DT at the triangle base. Main army in the top left, but then he rotates through the center. Sends a couple of Zealots to take care of the Nexus. Still controls the Oracle, kills 15 workers, and does all right in the big fight near the triangle base. It's PvP almost to perfection, Zombie Group.
Almost. He has lost more units this game, though.
yeah, dropping the ball a little here, mate.
The Oracle of ShaDoWn doesn't even have much energy to start harassing these probes. Third base is going to be killed, not canceled. That is Nexus number 3, by the way. And before Nexus number 4 can go down, ShaDoWn taps out. MaxPax takes the 3-0 pretty dominating fashion.